Hello and welcome to King Streets. My name is Michael Fleming. I'm the CEO and founder of the King Streets project and initiative, and I want to share with you the vision, the dream, the goal, and the opportunity to be part of something very dynamic and that we feel can truly transform communities all across our great country and eventually around the world. But this is as much of a as a community development and economic development project as it is anything else. And so I want to kind of guide you through the vision and ideas and thoughts around all of this. And so the first primary thing is to think about what are King Streets. And currently in America, there are over 1,000 streets named after Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King, and some now are being named after Mrs. King, Coretta Scott King. And then in other cities, there are actually streets that are called King Streets. And so in don't mind saying it all. This is in the spirit of kingdom building and being able to improve the quality of life of people all across this great country and around the world. And so the King Streets concept is not intended to only to take a nonprofit approach to doing community development, economic development. It definitely has that element, but it is intended to be able to have a culminating set of visions that allow everyone in those particular cities and towns to participate in the improvement of the quality of life of the citizens in that particular area. And so it's not actually just about the actual streets themselves, but about the communities that have them. And so the goal of the King Streets Project is to look at all the needs of a particular community in which we call a virtual nation. And see, so you'll see how we're talking about here, in other words, how you build your knowledge legacy and how do you do kingdom building as a whole. And so the King Streets Project is comprised of 10 key components in which we think that every community needs to build a viable, sustainable, and kind of independent developing city or town. And so the way it works out is that we truly want to be able to assess that city to see if it's a city of hope and despair or some combination of both. And is it being progressive? Is it still being regressive? How can we help? And so the constant process is the constant goal of this is to at all times trying to find solutions that people can use on the individual level and use collectively throughout their community. And then, of course, to deal with justice and legal and the need and politics needs in a particular community. The nonprofits here, and how to help them mobilize into what we call the CARE Alliance. I'll speak to that here in a second. And even combining the immigrant and international community as a whole, and not just directly as the people, but how trade and commerce and everything moves to global trade and commerce moves to a particular city or town or area. And then to have each city have its own community think tank in which it's constantly working on innovation ideas and to collectively kind of push forward some thoughts and projects that can keep that community on the cutting edge of resources and technology. And then to deal with home ownership and to deal with personal development and investing and learning what to do with your money and just on the individual level. And then to impact small businesses, corporations, government entities that are in that particular community around business and economic development. And then to include the faith community to see what their needs are in a particular community. And then, of course, to address all education needs, K through 12, the collegiate and trade schools and just in tech schools in that particular area. And then definitely to deal with the health and medical needs in that particular community as a whole. This site is actually, what looks like a website, this is actually a software application. So there's a login and sign up, and there's a database that kind of is being developed to run behind this. As a matter of fact, each one of these particular components are what we call the portals. Each one of these portals, once this site is completely finished out or the software is completely finished out, will be its own database, and it will aggregate data from that particular community. And then it'll simply come down to a person coming out to the site and saying, I can help, I need help, or share my experiences. And so the goal of the King Streets Project is to build a coalition and collection or alliances of skills and talents that are in a particular community, and then get them time and get them to coordinate collectively together to make that community sustainable. And so the King Streets Project is to look at the thread of how these cities can work together and collaborate. Obviously, we'll be able to help small businesses grow and to give each person that's a business owner the feeling and sense of being having their concepts and ideas franchised across the 1,000 different Martin Luther King streets. And so that's all inherent into the components itself. But Dr. King believed in the concept of the beloved community, so that is the drive as well, is to build these beloved communities and eventually have centers in those King Street cities, and preferably on the actual Martin Luther King streets. And then we would share an edutainment series in which we would educate and entertain those communities as a whole. But on the business side of this, this is actually an enormous marketing opportunity because you have 1,000 cities, 1,000 towns, and in which you can, and you can have access to at any given moment, and we can have a unified collection of activities and events that are going on, and at the same time, we're going to kind of party with a purpose to make sure everyone's having a good time, but at the same time they're growing all at the same time, and we're being having fun and being responsible all at the same time. So all the radio stations, TV stations, all the media outlets, just pretty much businesses and corporations and industries and government agencies can all be coordinated through this particular site. Additionally, we have a piece that we call the King Streets TV. And so what we're after in this piece is to be able to have at some point people submit their actually it'll be a 3, 5, 7, or 10-minute video kind of talking about their ideas and their ideas and skill sets and projects and things that they may be working on. And so this will be the equivalent of our own little miniature like YouTube type of platform that we hope to run within this. And see, so that would be a catalog of video mentors and just promotional campaigns and different things that we would go on. And so obviously we would promote the schedule of events in those particular cities. And again, one big coordinated family of services and programs that are in there. And then we have the latest news, and then we got a team of partners and people that are working with us. And then over here on the right, we'd have our advertisers and marketers. And of course, this site would be free. And then to the general public, and we have some premium areas at some point as well. And so this is the primary kind of feel for what the King Streets project is going to be about. We're hoping to roll it out officially by September, October this year, and then definitely have major events going on around Dr. King's birthday and his memorial, his death in 2021. So, but beyond this and within the service itself, the King Streets project, the About Us, there's been a team of us working on this for quite some time, and we're still in the process of kind of formulating what the full interaction is going to be. I personally have a strong history with the civil rights community, having worked for Martin Luther King III and a lot of the civil rights icons in Atlanta and around the South. And so, and have a collection of colleagues and friends that are that are pastors and in the faith-based community as a whole. But it's obviously, this is definitely a vision of hope and inspiration that we're hoping to constantly have available to the collective communities. And then the services, we want to offer both business services, professional services, community services. Over the years, we've done GED, life skills, work readiness programs, homeless shelters, prisons. We went anywhere that we thought the need was. We got a component in here called ministers and merchants. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of both the faith community and the business community as a whole. And then under our programs, there's several different things, components of our programs. There's what we call the Alliance 10, and that's which now it's also being called the Care Alliance. And so the goal of that is simply to look at the infrastructure of a community and bring those pieces together and then have those coordinated. We call it the Uberizing of care. The idea of how do you get all the care professionals in a particular community to work as a collective community. So you can definitely check out our initiative there for the Care Alliance and the Alliance 10. And then, of course, a collection of partners and everyone that we're going to have throughout the entire system. So this is just a quick overview of the King Streets project. We're currently in the process of trying to get sponsors, partners. We're also looking to get investors in the project as a whole. So please feel free to contact me. I'm Michael Fleming. You can contact me directly on my cell or text me at area code, preferably text me at area code 678-508-6283, or you can email me at michaelafleming@hotmail.com. Wishing you well. Look forward to seeing you on a King Street. Take care. Thank you.